Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to Show and Tell number 283. So, I was really hoping this every other week show and tell format would mean I have a lot more to talk about as far as my projects go. And while I have progress on multiple projects again, there's still no finished objects. My bangs are doing something really wonky, so I will probably end up like pinning those back here like halfway through filming this. Plus, my forehead is looking like a 6 head right now, so let's just go ahead and grab that. So, there we go. I don't know why them down makes my forehead look bigger than clipping my hair back. I don't understand. My hair, so welcome to fall, y'all. So I have expressed this a number of times since we moved back to Columbia. One of the things I really wanted moving back here was a swimming pool. I would have been happy with just a little simple kidney to jump into just to cool off. Normally, it's still like 80s, 90s highs this time of year here. But since we moved back, Halloween night, the wind chill again was in the upper 30s. The low was 41 degrees. We had come off a week of rain and we were still kind of blustery by the end of the night. So it's like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. We've kind of closed down the pool for the season back at like the second week of September, I think is the last time we jumped in. So we didn't get in until like the last week of May. So we only got a couple of months of use. Normally it is over 78 consistently, like right after Easter. And normally it is still over 80 most of the time through Halloween. Fair week, South Carolina State Fair weeks, those 2 weeks of the fair right before Halloween, normally it's still between 85 and 90 when I've lived here. So 12 years of living here, 13 years of living here, that's what we dealt with the exception of 1 year, and that was the year with no spring. We literally had like 1 month of summer that year. But we've had 1 year out of all those years where it wasn't like that. And now 3 years in a row since I finally got a pool to maintain my temperature a little bit. Anyway, I mean, technically, I could use it as a cold plunge right now. It doesn't mean it doesn't. I mean, we don't have a cover on it and we do maintain treatment throughout the entire winter. So, like, theoretically, I could, get a good workout, good sweat going and use my pool as a cold plunge. But it was never built with a cover because there is a hot tub attached to the pool. So, the hot tub's supposed to be a year-round thing. But anyway. The weather is cold. It was wet last week finally, which was huge. But it was really dry before that. And then over the weekend, the air dried out again. So like my hair's frizzy and I don't normally have very frizzy hair and everything feels dry and itchy. So welcome to fall, early fall, y'all. Anyway, all that a long introduction just to say, it's been banana pants in just the best sort of way here. We've both had colds. I got sick last Thursday. I'm on the mend. I feel 85% better now. I don't have like the constant right nostril itching. That was the worst part, is just deep, like past the hard cartilage itching in the one side. But yeah, so Troy's still feeling a little meh. I'm feeling better, but I still feel like I could sleep. Like I could take like 2-hour naps basically all day long. Yeah. Then we had Halloween, which was so much fun. We stayed out from 6 to 8, handing out candy and toys. So I bought 90 Reese's pumpkins and 144 stuffies. And then we had a couple like slap bracelets and sticker books left over from last year. So we ended up with like 40 of the stuffies left. All of the sticker books are gone. I gave our last car of trick-or-treaters 8 pumpkins and kept 2 for ourselves. So we had well over 100 trick-or-treaters that night in 2 hours. And we kept thinking, we were actually out to almost 9, because from 8 to 9, we kept thinking like, okay, this is the last car. And then we'd see, we live at the end of our street and we're on a hill. There's a dip and then there's a hill heading out towards the entrance. And we kept seeing like 4 more cars coming in over the hill and coming into the cul-de-sac. So we stayed out for a little bit extra just to kind of hand everything out, spirit of the evening and everything. And then we came in, tucked into some dinner, chillaxed, took showers, warmed up, and had our like evening. But yeah, it was a very busy day. Had a lot of fun, although I was sick by then. So I didn't dress up or anything. I didn't even put on my Freddy Krueger cardigan. I just wore my Halloween Town sweatshirt and called it a day. Troy dressed up as Michael Myers. If I've got the picture of the table, I will stick it up here. I took a picture, but I don't remember if I saved it or not. We were a little discombobulated Friday. We will have some media conversation at the end of this because we did watch a number of movies over the last couple weeks. So stay tuned for the media portion. But other than that, life's been pretty good. Still working on trying to rebalance my diet and stuff for what my nutritionist wants me to be eating and stuff. So reintroducing carbs back in this year has been very difficult. I'm just so used to eating a low carb diet and trying to get things in my diet that don't spike my blood sugar, but still have some carbs. She still doesn't want me going over like 80 net carbs. So like, it's not like standard American diet. We're still in the lower than normal carb, but we still need carbs in our diet. So still dealing with that, still flustered and flummoxed with that. Yeah, other than that, no real life updates. We will have some pet tax at the end. So Banner's been super cuddly. So there's probably more pictures of Banner now. It's been cold. So he wants to do lap snuggles or he wants to be curled up under the bed near the heat register. So that's Banner for you. So stuff in my basket, my wonderful basket of goodness. So first off, I can't remember if I shared these in 282 or not, but they were still in my basket. So I thought I'd highlight these really quickly. So when I did the tutorials for how to join the hexagons, solid hexagons, I turned these into flower motifs for Grandma's Flower Garden. I did share a number of quilt inspirations. I did do a playlist that was all of the solid granny stuff put together in one video. So that is available. The other hexagon that I'm using for the kaleidoscope hexagon blanket is also up. So if you are interested in either one of the tutorials for the hexagons, how to make the hexagons is available. There is a tutorial for how to join. If you want to flush the long edge or the half hexagon edge of the hexagon blanket for the solid hexie, there's a tutorial for that. And then there's a compilation of everything having to do with what made up the Nickelodeon hexagon blanket. But these will be a project for a later date. I have those started. Those are there, available and ready to go when I'm not under Project Christmas Blanket and trying to get Christmas cards finished and trying to get gifts purchased. And then it's going to be wrapping and prepping and decorating. And we still have Thanksgiving in between to worry about. So I'm not stressed at all. My brain is not going into overload. So next, take a break, but we're still talking about Christmas. Last time I did not bring my socks up. I have not worked on these in the last 2 weeks, but I did think I would, I probably had to go ahead and just bring them up and show you what I did do 2 weeks prior. So we finished off getting my heel established and getting the leg established and everything. So that is where I am on my buddy socks. So we have Stroll fingering from Knit Picks. This is Felici from Knit Picks in the colorway Buddy. And then this is a Cascade Heritage, one of their solids. And that will be the heel toe cuff for Troy's sock. Mine was going to fall right up against a green stripe or a red stripe in between the red stripes. So I didn't want to use the red that didn't match exactly because at a distance it looks fine. The green doesn't match exactly, but for some reason on the front of the sock, it doesn't look that bad. So these are my vanilla socks using Earth Tone Girls Shadow Wrap Heel. It's just my preferred heel. I'm sure one day I'll find a new one that fits even better somehow, but until then, I will continue using the Shadow Wrap heel because for me, it is the perfectly fit heel. Before that, I did do a lot of Afterthought and Peasant heels. So the only one I have not liked on my foot is a heel flap. It just doesn't stay up as well and it doesn't cup my heel as nicely. But everybody's foot's different. What fits everybody's foot is different. So we just go with what works for us the best. Up next, my prairie shawl. So this was part of the October Mal project. This is using, it's the Alpaca blend one. It's the Debbie Stoller Stitch Nation Red Heart collaboration yarn. And this is like alpaca. Now I forgot the name of it. And of course I left everything but the project downstairs. Anyway, it's a discontinued yarn, so it doesn't really matter. So this is the Prairie Shawl. It is a free shawl from Premier. I will leave a link down below. This was originally written for their rodeo yarn, but I thought it would be perfect for this because I had 4 balls of teal and 2 balls of the purple. So I am going to do the entire body in the teal, which is just repeatings of this stockinette and eyelet section. I have one more after this stockinette section left to go. So I'm very close to finishing the center of the shawl. I did have to move this to a 40-inch needle because I could not move my stitches around anymore. But the last time you guys saw this, I was way back here. So I actually made quite a bit of progress in 2 weeks on this. I think I only worked on it 2 or 3 days. So there we go. There's that. And I'm using my Beetlejuice Skein Cozy there. Then we just have 2 more, 3 projects to talk about. 2 actual projects, and then one's a basket of stuff I want to mention. I don't know what happened to last Thursday's video. I realized Friday morning it didn't go live, and then went into the settings, and for some reason it was scheduled to go live on Friday, not Thursday. Although I double checked, it was Thursday because I had that preloaded and just needed to reschedule it. So not very happy with whatever happened there. I'm sure it was user error of some form, but I hope you guys saw Thursday's video where I was doing the intensive review of the Kato I-cord maker, the new one. Project Christmas Blanket. So we are working up to this. This will be the square for my oldest stepson's blanket. I'm going to need 42 squares. I have 1 done. So 41 were brought up to the light blue. Now I have 8 of those 41 that are up to the dark blue. I've woven in all the ends except for the last row end here. And that's because I can tuck part of that as I do the next section and go from there. But I am trying to weave in the ends as I do the next color section. I bring those down, weave in the ends that night. And then next day, walking workout, crochet, and then at least that's how I'm trying to make it work. But this is what we're working to. So these 8 are ready for their last 2 rows. The other 33 are at the light blue. They're done with that. ends are all woven in. We're just now focusing on crocheting dark blue. So there is that. Oh, somebody is racing on the main road out there. Or they're just speeding. Either way. I just got done saying my nose was no longer itching, and here I am with my nose going bananas, and it's just the right side. Just the right side. Anyway, next up, my youngest grandson's blanket. So I did get this started. I know I hadn't shared this 2 weeks ago. So in the last 2 weeks, I have worked the short side. This is a corner-to-corner blanket. I have worked the short side, and now I have actually turned the corner. So we are working rows even right now. So we are at about 5.5 feet wide, so almost 60 inches wide. And I programmed into a random number generator to pick a number between 5 and 25, and that's the number of rows or until the yarn is gone. So this is using leftover yarn from doing his dad's blanket and some of the other random blue and gray yarns I had in my stash. So this is like a Mary Maxim anti-pilling. I think this is Premier anti-pilling. This is a Fintex jumbo ball that I had from Spinrite many, many, many moons ago when Spinrite used to ship to the US with their clearance online. This is Loops and Thread Impeccable. This is Premier Anti-Pilling, and this is Loops and Thread Impeccable. So I do not believe I'm going to get the 23 rows I was supposed to get out of this color. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows so far. Maybe I'll get the 23, but we did have some growing rows and then now even rows. So might not quite make it to the 23 that color of gray is supposed to be. But once again, it's until the color runs out. We're trying to use the yarn from our stash. This was a Stash Buster blanket, and his dad's was a Stash Buster blanket. So that is the goal. We are trying to use our stash this year. So I know I'm only a little neurotic. Okay, so I'm going to put my projects back into my bucket of goodness here. I'm going to leave the flower garden pieces out of the bucket. That way I don't forget whether or not I talked about them next time. And we have 3 videos possibly where I talked about it. Next up, project-wise. So this isn't quite a project. So if you did find Friday's video miraculously, I think I've only missed like 2 Thursday uploads in 6 years, but here we are. Not happy. Not happy at all. Crystal Light mango green tea in the 40 ounce. I don't like any of the additives like full strength. So 40 ounces of water is about right for one of those on the go packets of Crystal Light, which are supposed to be for like a 12 to 16 ounce bottle of water. I'm a weirdo. Anyway, I reviewed the Kato iCord maker, the automatic iCord maker. Love the unit. It was wonderful. Check out the review. I will leave the link and discount code for it here at the bottom of this video as well, since I am talking about what I made. So I made a ton of iCord over the last couple weeks, testing out this machine and putting it through its paces, trying different yarns. We did have a number of fails, off-camera fails, and it's just because yarn is too slippery. So the machine does not like super fine, slippery yarn. It wants something that it can really kind of grab onto, which is good to know. But I ran through some bamboo yarn. The acrylic that it came with, I think that was a sport weight acrylic. This is a fuzzy size 4 yarn. I did 3 skeins of this. I am going to weigh these and put these into my used yarn, or not used yarns, non-knitting and crochet finished projects because these are now new yarns. I've made new yarns out of these. This is Worsted Weight wool. This is Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks. But I mean, I had fun. I had a blast. I have projects for a lot of these in mind. I have something special in mind for this one. So this is a fingering weight yarn. This is Wisdom Stanza, which is part of Universal Yarn. And this would have been like a self-striping sock yarn. Then we have Vanna's Choice. This is going to be a small basket, I believe. And this is, I kept saying Hobie in the review video. It's Hobie Yum Kartopu Baby. And this was like the pastels where it was like the spotty. And you can see we're like, we have micro stripes that appeared in this. Anyway, I also did 2 skeins of lamb's wool from Brown Sheep Co., I think. And those I'm turning into hot pads. I left those downstairs. I'm going to have to do some manual felting on the one that is spiraled already. And then the other one is just an I-cord. So I will count these as done towards the goal of yarn usage this year because these are all new things. This is going to be a basket using a yarn that's way down there that is almost off frame here. This one right here. And yeah, I'm going to use different techniques. I want to try some where you do the crochet around the cord and some where you sew the cord down using the sewing machine. So that'll involve me pulling my sewing machine out next year. But yeah, I did that and that was a lot of fun and that was interesting. And I enjoyed the process because I was able, this is a back feed machine. So I was actually able to bring up my hand crochet and hand knitting and work on that while the machine was making me I-cord. So I was able to do other things. I also cleaned the litter box, changed out the light bulbs here and next door where I had like 3 that were out. I folded some laundry. I vacuumed downstairs. Like I did a bunch of stuff while this thing was running up here. So, but anyway, I did enjoy being able to crochet while this was just kind of kicking out the I-cord. Made for some extra productive time. It was like 2 of me. I was like a body doubling with myself, which was kind of fun. So anyway, I have some ideas, but we'll be playing with those next year because I have enough on my plate trying to finish the Christmas cards and Christmas gifts. Oh, mercy me. So if you were just here for crochet content, knitting content, that would be the end. We are moving on to media. Okay. So when I was filling out my Halloween cards and getting those ready to post off, I watched the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. I have never been more disappointed in a sequel to a not fantastic to begin with, but still fun to watch teen horror slasher movie. This was bad. There was just nothing redeeming about this movie other than we had Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. back. Like, those were the only redeeming things about this entire movie. I did not like anything about it. I did not like the storyline. The twist was okay. Like, at least I can understand that motivation. But none of that played out in the entire movie. Like, you could have done so much with that, especially red herring it. Like, make it like diversion. You could have been like, oh, that's the murderer. And you could have had this brilliant diversion away from them and been so convinced that that's not what was going on. You could have had so much here. And they didn't use it. And there really wasn't anything good about this movie. I thought most of the actors chewed the scenery. It was way too over the top. It felt like it was trying way too hard to appeal to an audience that it couldn't identify. It didn't really want to appeal to the millennials who were the viewers of the original movie, and it didn't really want to appeal to Gen Alpha or Gen Z completely. So It just didn't it didn't know who its audience was, so it didn't slant any one way, and it was very unsatisfying, at least from the millennial perspective. um this just kind of sucked. It was so flat, and the first one was so much fun. It's not a great movie. It's not, Oscar worthy horror teen slasher movie. And it plays into a lot of tropes and stuff, but it was fun and it was campy and you actually had good acting in it. When people were supposed to be kind of crazy and over the top, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, they were. And it was great and it was fun. This just missed the mark. Missed the mark. I'm disappointed I paid for, or no, I didn't pay for the rental. I watched it because it was free on Netflix when I watched it. So I did not pay for the rental. I'm very glad I didn't pay for the rental. Next up, so we watched Vincent Price, The Haunted Palace. Now, we couldn't remember whether or not we had watched this before. And then, of course, like in the opening scene, we were like, yeah, we totally watched this like 3 years ago. But the entire premise is Vincent Price inherits an ancient family home. Him and his wife go there, and he's slowly being possessed by his ancestor. And his ancestor was not a very good person. Good. Love it. Had a ton of fun with it. I just love Vincent Price. I love Vincent Price movies. They're dated in a campy kind of fun way. But, if you remade these, and I don't want anybody to touch these movies because they will never ever do them justice. But if you were to bring this into a modern cinematography style, these would still be very good movies. Like these timelessly translate regardless of the era of cinematography we're dealing with. Don't anybody remake this movie. I will be very upset. But great movie, good fun. The woman playing his wife is just so beautiful. Like you're just constantly looking at her going, oh my God, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. And they're so good together, especially when he's being bad pants and her reaction to him. Like the acting is actually really good. You also have Lon Chaney Jr. in here. So this isn't like nobody actors. This is once again, at the time, these are still good actors that you have in these movies. Notice a theme for what it takes to have a decent horror movie, apparently. Not everybody can be Blair Witch. Next, we watched the original 13 Ghosts. I adore this movie. I love it. Once again, is it an Oscar-winning movie? No. At the time, the special effects that were used in this movie were spectacular. Now, of course, we live in the world of CGI and much different editing techniques. So it is cheesy, but it's so good. And one of the things I love about horror movies, like the original 13 Ghosts, as well as with Poltergeist, is the family as a cohesive unit. They love each other. They want good things for each other. They are taking care of each other in a genuine manner. They're not fighting from within. If there's something happening to the family, they're coming together as a family. They're not fighting and creating isolation within the unit. And I absolutely love this. And you have the sweetest witch. If you've seen it, you know. Next, I told you, we watched a lot of stuff. So when you were sick with colds and it's Halloween lead up, and I also had minor outpatient procedure. So it's like we had some time. And now the screaming starts. So this one, not for every audience. The cause of the haunting is violent, very, very violent. And It's not shown, but it's explicit in the what happened. So if you are not into violence against women, I would probably skip this one. Now, is the overall movie like that? Like I said, told, not shown, but it's explicit in the telling. You know exactly what happened. So overall, I would say the acting was very good. Once again, we're talking about an older movie, a different style of cinematography, a different style of movie. This is not a movie I think you could make now without Hollywood making it gratuitous. This is in an era where movies told you without showing you and showed you without you seeing anything. And that was perfect for a movie like this, even with the happenings. So the story is a young couple has gotten married. They go to his family home. Ghostly activities start attacking her. She becomes pregnant and everything else. So there's just kind of a lot going on. And we find out why the haunting has now started. There's lots of intrigue going on. There are some red herrings in the movie. So misdirection was a key part of this as well. Overall, enjoyed the movie. Not for all audiences, but you have been warned. It's, I would say, like Haunted Palace is going to be an A. It's dated, but it's still a really, really good movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer gets a D. 13 Ghost, it's a B. It's not perfect, but it's sweet. It is a sweet ghost story, and I love it. Now the screaming starts. I'm probably going to put this in a B. It's not brilliant. It's not, Jacques Tourneur with the trick of the camera or, sleight of eye kind of stuff, the magic of storytelling that he had in horror movies that just give you that oppressive environment and creep you out from just setting the scene. Like there are brilliant movies that Burn Witch Burn. The oppressive nature of certain scenes of that, and you can't put your finger on why does this scene feel off, and something's wrong without seeing anything being wrong, and there's something in the shift of the filming that makes you feel that way. This is kind of missing that magic of something like that, but it was still enjoyable to watch. It was fun, very different, to be honest. I crave unique horror movies and a unique why. Whether it be, a serial killer, or whether it be, just somebody out for vengeance, or, ghost, the unique why is always nice. And this was fairly unique as far as how the entire story went and the why to the story. So once again, if you like classic horror, this is worth watching. It's well made. It's a good movie. Just know that in this storytelling, it is explicit. You don't see, but you know. Last up, this is probably my favorite movie from this Halloween season that we watched. And it's the entire thing. It's the entire thing from beginning to end, taken as a whole. This movie definitely gets an A from me. Oh, I can't. Oof. The Golem movie is still. Oof. This is good in a different way, though. This is another A movie. I highly recommend it if you enjoy the classic icons of horror as far as our actors, because this movie has Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, John Carradine, and Christopher Lee. I knew I was going to forget somebody, so I wrote down all four names. The main protagonist is Desi Arnaz Jr., who I had never seen in anything before. I knew he had acted in stuff, but had never seen this. This movie came out in 1983. he is a writer who rents a house in England, and it's filmed on, I don't think this one's filmed on a sound stage. This is actually filmed at a manor house in England. And he's supposed to have sole ownership of this home for the night, to write a story in 24 hours. And people keep showing up. And their story is quite fascinating. And the ending, and it's not because it's unique. The ending is perfect because it is so well done. And the falling action to the entire thing is so perfect. So I loved it. I could have done without the very last scene. That's the only one where I'm like, you almost had me, perfectly had me until that very last scene. But other than that, it is enchanting. It is fun. It's seeing Christopher Lee young and not wearing makeup, was also like a heavy makeup, was tons of fun. I just adore Vincent Price. If you haven't been able to tell over the years, if you've been here for a while, I adore me some Vincent Price. If like, I could not imagine being his child or his grandchild. Like, that just must have been magic. And not just as the icon of horror, but the man himself. He is to my world as Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers are. It's just, he is wholesome goodness to me. And most villains are, but fun movie. It is not a serious horror movie. It is quirky and fun. It's a little goofy. It is based on a silent movie, I believe, and that was based on a book, but they're kind of departures from each other over the course of the story. But it's just fun. If you enjoy classic, especially like the combination of the classic American cinema horror with the Hammer film horror, it's just fun. It's just fun. It's well done. The characters are actually smart. Nobody is dumb. I highly recommend. If you just want definitely a fun Sunday movie to watch. House of the Long Shadows. I think I forgot to say that. Hopefully I am remembering to put the posters up here, but loved it. Had so much fun watching that. That was a riotous blast. So anyway, that brings us to the end of media. I didn't listen to anything audiobook wise. I listened to a couple podcasts. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic day. If you're interested in checking out how cute my cats are, Pet Tax will be here, and I will see you guys real soon. Bye, you guys. Cute little Pippin break. Cute little Pippin break. Oh, I've got the flash on Pippin's face. Cute little Pippin break.